10-Minute Murder contains depictions of actual crimes. What you are about to hear is real and violent in nature. Discretion is advised. This is 10-Minute Murder.
Welcome to 10-Minute Murder, the brief and bingeable true crime podcast. I'm Joe, the host, and thank you for being here. If you're new to this podcast, hi. I hope you find what you hear today interesting and you continue to listen. If you hate it, that's okay. You must not like cool things, and that's fine. It's totally fine. If you do enjoy it, make sure you subscribe before you go to sleep, go to work, go back to work, wash the dishes, take a shower, or whatever you're doing while you listen to 10-Minute Murder. I just appreciate you listening and sharing the show with your friends. This particular episode you may want to share with a friend if they own a snake. One of my best friends has a snake at their house. He says it's his wife's snake, and they claim it's a pet. I'm not Merriam-Webster, but I think the criteria for something being called a pet is you have to pet the pet, not keep it in a giant aquarium and have company cringe when they see it. And I'm company. I'm scared to death of snakes. In today's story, a snake, a 8.5-foot Burmese python pet named Gypsy, was kept in a 200-gallon tank. One day it escaped and went searching for something to eat. In July 2009, Jaren Hare and her boyfriend, Charles Darnell, lived in a Florida home with 2-year-old Cheyenne. Cheyenne is Jaren's from a previous relationship. Also living in this home is an 8.5-foot Burmese python named Gypsy. Gypsy was also Jaren's. She bought the snake when she was only 14 years old and had it for years. She treated the snake like a puppy, sometimes dressing it up in cowboy boots and gold cufflinks. How you put that stuff on a snake, I have no idea, but that is apparently what they did. They let the snake out of the tank a lot of the time and allowed it to just roam around the house. When it was in the tank, it still wasn't completely secure in there. They just toss a blanket over the top with bungee cords holding it on. Gypsy had not eaten in a month and was hungry. Jaren and Charles weren't doing so hot financially and couldn't afford to feed the snake the supply of rats like they normally did. Friends and family knew the situation and offered to take care of the snake, but they refused the help. A healthy snake of that length and species should weigh somewhere around 150 pounds. Gypsy weighed 14 pounds. One evening, Charles got up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. He tripped over the snake that had again escaped the tank. Charles put Gypsy back into the tank and went back to bed. Later, he went to check on 2-year-old Cheyenne and found the snake wrapped around her, its fangs sunk into her forehead.
911, do you need police, fire, or an ambulance?
It's an emergency.
Okay, what do you need? You need a police, fire, or an ambulance?
I don't know, the baby's dead.
What address are you calling from?
A stupid snake got out in the middle of the night and strangled the baby.
Okay, stay on the line with me. I'm going to get you over to an EMS dispatcher. You need to answer all their questions, okay?
Yeah.
What is the address of your emergency? Okay, and are you in a subdivision or a mobile home park?
No, I'm at the house and we're right on the road.
Okay, and what's the problem? Tell me exactly what happened.
Our snake, we have a Burmese python and she's about 12 foot long. She got out of the cage last night and got into the baby's crib and strangled her to death.
Stay on the line, please. Kim. Okay, I do have help on the way there for you, sir. I need to ask you a few more questions, okay?
When paramedics arrived, they found the snake alive, but with cut marks on it, where Charles tried to remove it from Cheyenne. But sadly, Cheyenne was beyond help. She was dead. Investigators learned that Gypsy had not been fed in over a month, and even though a snake is a wild animal, The responsibility to keep it under control and anyone around it safe falls on the owner. Jaron Hare and Charles Darnell were arrested and charged with third-degree murder, manslaughter, and child neglect. In court, Jaron's own mother took the stand and told the jury how she had gone with Jaron to pick out the snake when she was a child. She paid $200 for the python and kept it locked in an enclosure built by her husband when she lived there. Later, after she moved out, she begged Jaron to get rid of the snake or let her buy it from her. She didn't trust it. She sent Jaron a photo of a snake similar to Gypsy that had eaten an alligator in the Everglades. Jaron's attorney argued that the snake was a family pet and had never been aggressive before. The assistant state attorney showed 2 photos of Cheyenne, one where she was happy and smiling, the other of her lifeless body with bite marks on her face. He said to the jury, "The snake is not at fault in this case. It's a wild animal. The responsibility for the death of that child is those defendants right there." In the end, Jaron and Charles were found guilty and sentenced to 12 years in prison. That's today's 10-Minute Murder, the brief and bingeable true crime podcast. Thanks for listening today, and before you go, if you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button right now so that you don't miss any episodes in the future. Also, when you're a subscriber, you get the episodes as soon as they are released, without a delay. As soon as I upload them, boom, you can listen. You can connect with 10-Minute Murder on social media. The links are in the show notes of this episode. Or you can just type 10-Minute Murder into the search bar. On Facebook and Instagram, I post visuals that go along with most of the episodes that you're listening to. Not graphic crime scene photos, though. Just the people and places, so you can get a mental image of who you're hearing about or what you're hearing about. And finally, the way this show grows is with your help. If you have friends that might be into quick true crime stories, tell them about 10-Minute Murder. A lot of you are, which is great. It's not just my sister listening. If she was the only one listening, I'd probably just call her directly and tell her the stories. But then she'd be like, "Hey, get to the point. Ooh, that's gross. You aren't funny." You know, typical sister stuff. So I appreciate the support that this show has gotten. And I'm kidding. My sister has been super supportive of the podcast. Maybe I can talk her into being on an episode with me. She'll probably say no, but I'm going to give it a shot. Hey, if you listen on Apple and enjoy it, be sure to review and leave a 5-star rating. That also helps out the show a bunch. Thanks for listening to 10-Minute Murder. Have a good night.